So this is a Pacifica. We've got some factory UV coating here, and then this has like a wipe on method, which is not uncommon. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. And then same thing here. You see how it's yellowing and browning. So there's some factory UV coating here, right there. So just think of this as the sunburned skin that's still present. The rest of it's all gone. And we're gonna remove all that. We'll start with 600 and go from there. What's cool about this Headlight Magic system is you can literally do any light. Doesn't mean you should chase every light, but this one, we're gonna start with a liquid sandpaper to help soften this outer shell up. And then from there, we're actually gonna start with 600 grit because this has a wipe on clear on it already of some kind of kit, which again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just at the end of its life. So we're gonna remove all that, keep it wet, and go from there. You can tape this up if you want to. There's a really big gap on this, but the way I'm holding the paper, I've got my finger on the edge here. I kind of use it as like a rolling wheel around the body panel. But again, you can tape it up if you want. All right, so on this one, you can see this here. So this is that old UV coating. This is why I was starting higher. Once you get rid of all that stuff, then we can go from there. So I'm actually at 400 grit to start to knock all this stuff down. And then we'll move all the way up to 2000 grit. We're gonna finish this with the vapor. So stay tuned for that part. Next up, we're at 600 grit. And again, the whole thing with this is the first or second grit is going to take off 90% of the issue. And then from there, it's going to be a lot faster because you're just smoothing out your scratches. So 600 grit, take a little bit longer than 1000 grit, but same thing. One of the common questions I always get asked is, how do you know when to go to the next step? The next step is achieved when you get even that finish across the lens, okay? And then there's no like weird, crazy scratches from the previous grit, and then you go to the next step. I skipped 1000 grit. This is the last step, 2000 grit. But yeah. So we started with 400 to knock through all that stuff and bite it all off. 600, 1000, and then now we're at 2000. And again, this is the fastest step of them all as far as sanding, because you're literally just trying to refine the 1000 grit scratches, which aren't that bad, and go from there. And then you'll just take your clean towel, and again, just like every method, you want to make sure your cracks are clean. Clean your cracks, and then again, it should look like you were not here. So clean your mess up. So say like this got a chrome piece here. Even if you have some love taps on the car like this, it should not look like you were here. All right, now we've got the vapor heating up. And pro tip again, if you use the vapor kit, make sure you tape up the lid. You don't want to have the seal on here is kind of cheap. So I mean, the kit itself is only like $35. So what can we expect? Tape that on, and then we'll wait for this to heat up, and we'll get it clear. Once it heats up, you just go like this. And when you're done, just go ahead and pull this off here. Take your cap off, and then dry the inside of this out. You want this to cool off a little bit before you reuse it, but all you're gonna do is take your cap here, use this as the funnel, and you can actually pour this right back in there and reuse any you have left over. Just like that, vapor is completed. I just did the ceramic coating. You can put any coating that you want. If you want the two that I use, they're in that pillar page, but don't overthink it. It's just plastic. Put some type of UV protection on there and supercharge that vapor.